Forza Horizon 6, baby. So this is a new trailer that just came out a few hours ago, and I figured I would break it down as well as the other trailer real quickly, so that way, we can see any juicy details that you might have missed. So this is something you'll see in another shot also, but this map is extremely vertical when it comes to height, as you can go from all the way up here to down there. This shot here is actually really good also because it really gives you an indicator of how big the map is going to be. Now, as someone who has about 1800 hours on Horizon 5, I can confidently say this is quite a bit bigger than Horizon 5, assuming you can go all the way over here, which it really looks like you can because I think that's a road right there cutting through the tree line. I also have heard people claim that you might be able to go all the way to Fuji, but I would really say that you don't because you can kind of see it is a little bit low resolution. So I'm going to say that it's just going to be a background element, kind of like I think the northern mountains that you see in Horizon 5 currently. Another thing is, take this with a grain of salt, this could be what the skyline is going to look like, but again, we have no idea, as we haven't really seen much of the city, not even just the downtown part, but just in general. And this is probably the best shot you're going to get of the entire map, and you can see the city right here as it ducks behind the hills, and I think this is an airport, though I could be completely wrong, so we could have a drag strip race there. But again, Tokyo is going to be absolutely massive because it stretches all the way out to here, which if I was to guess, I would say is somewhere in this area here looking up towards the mountain, but I have no idea. And hey, I might be gushing about the map quite a bit, but hey, I love figuring this kind of stuff out, and I think it's quite interesting. Again, I do think this will be the kind of shape of Tokyo in a not literal sense, but more of a where it'll be sense. In a literal sense, I feel like looking top down, it would be something kind of like this. And kind of like this. As you can see, it kind of ducks behind the mountains, and then I think it curves a little to the left there, and then back out towards Fuji. So that way you have this wonderful shot here, where I presume the city is probably going to come to a little bit of a close in this last little residential district, and you can make it from here, probably through industrial, all the way to the high rises. And after a little looking, I can confidently say that this area that you see here is right in here. As you can see, the little dip in the peak lines up perfectly with that. And I feel like part of the reason is because they really want to make the highway system actually be more like a highway. Because in previous games, I don't think I've ever really considered it any actual form of transportation, just a decently long straight road that you can go flat out on. Because in Horizon 4 we had this horrible mess of a highway which didn't really do a whole lot and was actually pretty bad at doing top speed runs. In 5, as you can see, we did get a pretty long straight, but at the same time it wasn't very meaningful and it felt kind of pointless. So my hope with 6 is that they kind of make it wind around the entire map like it does in real life around Tokyo and other parts of Japan, so that way it actually feels like there is a use to get on the highway. I kind of doubt it because it's a little difficult to do because you have to make the entire map valuable, but we'll see. Well, I guess the local wildlife is making a guest appearance on this episode of Forza Breakdowns. Well, I'm gonna hope you can't hear them that much, but my main problem with these games previously is 4 was a lot better about it. 5 was pretty bad, but as you can see, what's the point of all these roads? They're pretty much useless. In 4, as you can see, while they are a little bit more sparse, I felt like most of the roads felt grounded, and they had a reason for existing, because you didn't see too many roads that just felt completely pointless. I would say the only roads that felt a little redundant were some of them in here, but really that's about the only place I think they really felt redundant. I do hope that there's not too many roads that just feel completely redundant. Am I nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking? Not really, but I guess you could argue I am. That is one of my concerns personally, but I don't think it'll ruin the game. That's basically one of my only concerns with the game, is just having too many roads that are redundant. To be fair, there's bigger issues that I will get into, but also this is presumably where your first house is gonna be. Okay, maybe not first house, but either way, I gotta say, this doesn't look like a house at all. This looks like a warehouse, actually, so that's the kind of house it is. But apparently not, because it's where you're gonna live, and there's bicycles here. I'm telling you though, this looks like a warehouse, not a house. Side note, I feel like no one gives the devs credit for the detail they put in these games, because man, look at this road. You can literally see like the cracks and like these scratches or individual chips and rocks in the road. And to me, that is really cool, as well as it even shows in the paint. Now, again, this is going to be the new Forza Tech engine, so I'm not exactly shocked, but still have to mention it. I'm gonna hope for the love of God that maybe they improve traffic in the sense that there's more, for one, because this shot really scares me. This is the most dead looking city I've ever seen. I'm not asking for New York traffic, don't get me wrong. I just want there to be a decent amount of cars so that way it doesn't feel like a ghost town, which is another complaint I have more about 5, being the fact that the map felt so dead because there was basically no cars. And the anime is really interesting. I do wonder if we're gonna get any collabs at some point in the future with animes that are popular, such as currently airing season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that'd be kind of interesting, but hey, that's just me. And worth mentioning, we are already, kind of confirmed, because you see it in the end of this segment, is we're gonna get a Gundam collab. And again, here is this area, which I do believe on to the left, maybe the right side, is Mount Fuji, because these houses look very similar to these houses, so that's my guess. Quick little mention, okay, genuinely on point for the video, exhaust effects have been updated. Every car has new effects, and again, this scares me, is you don't really see many NPC cars. I don't even know if you see, I think this is one. This might be it though, because if you look at the map, the rest of these are just players. Also, we might get fog as a seasonal effect, just putting that one out there. I'm calling it now if that's a thing. Quickly gotta mention, I feel like Lamborghini paid them at this point, because I swear to you, you see the Huracan Starado specifically in like every other shot in this trailer. Obviously, this isn't really a secret, but I just have to put it out there. My God, that's like 20 feet of snow. He mentions going around the map to collect stuff, and obviously this shows up, so it's presumed that this is gonna be something that's collectible in a sense. I'm assuming there's gonna be different murals and such around the map, and you have to find them to get accolade points. I would think of this something kind of like the tarot cards in Cyberpunk 2077 that you just find around the map. Okay, I'm sorry to gush about this, but dude, look at the dirt, man. Like, look at the detail in that. You can see rock. Now, I'm not gonna trust this like the Bible, but I'm gonna say this confidently. 334 does sound pretty accurate to what was originally stated in Horizon 5 at launch, but as you can see, currently there's over 900. I think it's about 970 cars that you can currently get. So this is quite the dip in the car list. About half of the cars will be gone, so pray to God above that the car you love hasn't gotten removed. He quickly calls out new body kits and new Forza Aero, and I have to say, the wing does concern me, because I gotta say, for one, the wing is always what's looked ugly in the Forza games, so not showing an actual wing and a hatchback wing is concerning. But also, I am pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't drive hatchbacks that often, this is basically just a carbon copy, forgive the pun, of what we have in Horizon 5 when it comes to wings. That is my concern for all of this. I don't know if even the front is really changed all that much. He says new Forza Aero, but from looking at it, it looks pretty much bar none the same as what it did in every previous title, other than a new splash of paint being a new carbon fiber texture, which does look nice, but it is not going to fix that underlying problem. Also, I think this is Forza Aero, and it really doesn't look horrible. It's not bad. It might be stock, I don't know, but the canards kind of throw me off because, I don't know, they're literally sitting on like nothing right here. Quick mention, and we'll get to it more in a bit, but drifting could quite possibly be very different in terms of physics because we are getting a completely new tire model. So we're getting the tire model from the newest Motorsport, and they're tossing it in Horizon, so expect drifting to potentially be more difficult than it was in Horizon 5, where the tires just feel like a block of stone that can be less grippy or more grippy, not really tires. And now, okay, tire wear mentioned. Wow, with the tire wear, I do wonder if in some capacity tire marks kind of add up over time like they do in Motorsport, or if it's just going to be the same and they don't really stick to the ground other than maybe visually. but they don't really add any impact when driving. I just have to say quickly, why did we need a V8 Miata? You know, this isn't even on topic, but just, I'm not complaining, but like, Jesus. And now, I don't know if AR12 missed this, or if I'm misreading it, but from what he says, the way I interpret what we're doing with these kind of Forza Edition cars is they'll be around the map. AR12 says he doesn't know how you're gonna get them exactly, but from what this guy is saying, being a bargain, I'm pretty sure you just buy these with credits. You don't really have to do anything else. Hot take, the GR-GT kind of looks trash. I know, flame me all you want. I don't know, it looks funky. It looks like, to me it looks too flat. Because it goes up and then just goes back. And then it goes up and then just goes back. And then it just goes down. I don't know, it's really flat to me. It doesn't have that much shape. It just kind of reminds me of the Dodge Viper. You know, I have to say, it looks terrible when it's paused, but here is the new exhaust effect. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've seen anyone mention— what the fuck is this thing? Bro, what is that? That shit ugly, man. Whoa, 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 oh my— I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. I was too focused on the ugly car for a second. Hello? I genuinely haven't seen anybody else talk about this. I'm shocked. I really am. This might be the only single shot in the entire trailer of it, or gameplay reveal, so that might be why. Quickly thought I'd mention this, and it's kind of noticeable also elsewhere, but there is just going to be leaderboards for these things in free roam. So not just the other events, but also drag races. And this looks like quite a long drag race too. So that's another thing I should mention. And then here will be our train race event this time around, because it is a repetitive theme, I suppose. You've had it in the last 2 games, maybe 3, I don't know. I didn't play Horizon 3, unfortunately. But this time around, it will be the bullet train, and presumably maybe also racing against 2 other people. Assuming you're in the Yesco, maybe not though. You know, I'm gonna be real, I don't know if they're gonna bring much back from 5, but I will say maybe this is Alejandra, probably the most forgettable character ever, but just thought I'd mention that. She drives a Yesco. Oh, and as I was saying, Gundam. So, yeah, that's gonna be an event. That's definitely gonna be an event. Yep. But gentlemen, we have made it. I will probably slim this down quite a bit, but I'm sitting at 57 minutes and 44 seconds. Wow. Man, I can really yap, can't I? But anyways, boys, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, most of all, hit that noti bell. Yeah, I'll be playing this on -day 4 because of early access, and that'll do it, boys. So yeah, have a good one, and peace.